Hey guys, this is Barbie with Two Friends and a Bible. Today is Monday, August 29th, and it is 4:44 p.m. Eastern Time. And I had originally said that I was going to do our video tomorrow, but honestly, there is so much going on that if I do, all my update videos are going to be an hour and a half long. And I really kind of want to shorten them to make them a little easier for you guys to watch. So I guess what I'm gonna end up doing is doing them several times a week. Not gonna confirm which day yet, but gonna probably do them several times a week because there is so much going on. I did a video, I think it was Thursday or Friday, and just every time, like I've said before, every time I start putting things down, even more is going on and more is going on. So I think I need to do a more update often. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna try to get through this fairly quick, give you guys an idea of what's going on. It has been just pretty much like what's been going on. Crazy. I mean, this earth we're living on is insane. Okay, so this is some information that I found out about, and gonna get into some of the Israel stuff and some of the Iran and Iraq and Lebanon and Russia and Ukraine and China and Taiwan, Estonia, United States, apparently pretty much everybody um, is getting into conflicts. So, but I'm going to start off with just a few. So I'm just like always, it's going to go back and forth because I started doing my notes on Friday. I did them Saturday, did them Sunday, and I've done them all day today. And so there's so many things that just keep happening. So I might do China and then Israel and then Russia, and then I might go back to China, so if it's like that, I apologize. And I apologize for my son being the sun being right there in my face and blocking me out. But it is that time of day. Hang on. Okay, not the best, but I moved over a little bit. Maybe this will help. Okay, so average food plants that typically burn down, catch fire, something like that during the year, it's usually around 45. That's about how many have issues per year. In the last year, this year, we have had 105 either burn down or have some serious injury, serious damage to it. So yeah, I find that interesting, that much has happened. And another one just burned down last week. So it's something just to kind of pay attention to. China is practicing on how to take out Taiwan's palace. In other words, they've like formatted an actual simulation of what the palace looks like. So when they go in, they know exactly where to go and what to do. So that's something that they've been working on. And so even though we're not hearing that they've actually fully attacked yet, they are definitely getting set up and ready to do it. In my opinion, I think they're going to. I know sometimes China says they're going to do things and they don't, but I just have a feeling we'll keep an eye on it too. Okay, so Israel, this was this Friday. Israel was striking Western Syria, destroying Iranian targets. And this is real close to Damascus. And they are striking again, not people, not civilians. They're striking where Iran is storing weapons and whatnot. Okay. And they're storing them in Syria, and this is close to Damascus. The reason I say Damascus is because, I think it's Isaiah. I need to look this up. I know it's in Isaiah, but I believe it's chapter 12, maybe, where it talks about Damascus will be a ruinous heap, and that is one of the end time signs. Now, some people will say, okay, no, Damascus was destroyed years ago. No, Damascus was heavily injured, definitely damaged. several years ago, but it is still inhabitable. People still live there and it is still inhabitable. So it's not destroyed. And a ruinous heap is exactly what that says. A ruinous heap, it's going to be gone. Okay, so that's just, interesting. They're getting closer and closer to Damascus. And I know we talked about the war between US and Iran proxies with Pentagon is actually admitting that has been going on, that our military was attacked in eastern Syria with a drone. And so we had Apache helicopters and other things, F-16s, F-35s up there fighting back and forth. And there's been reports of quite a few US soldiers injured. As of now, I have not heard of any killed or anything like that, but definitely injured. But I have heard of top Iranian officials that have been killed. So it's still going on, and it's right east of the Euphrates River. So if that gives you an idea where it's going on at. And as far as I know, it is still going on and nothing has changed on that. Might have calmed down a little bit, but it's still going on. And Iran, of course, is going on TV with fake propaganda, telling everybody, oh, we had successful exercises, everything is great, but yeah, it's not. There was, there are, yeah, there was an interview with Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO founder of Facebook. And he had the interview with Joe Rogan, and it was a live interview. And he admitted in that interview that in 2020, the FBI worked with big tech to shut down the Hunter Biden laptop story that, we all keep hearing about. So he actually admitted to that. I found that kind of interesting that he went on live TV with Joe Rogan and said that, but that's what he said. And it's something I think we all already knew because, Christians and conservatives are censored so bad. But yeah, he actually went on. So I had some information. We talked about CERN, which is that portal and that big cauldron over in Sweden, and we talked about that one day last week. And it's they opened it July 5th, and every time they open it, a lot of people believe they're letting demonic activity through those because it's like a big portal, and they're trying to literally create a Big Bang theory. And we all know God created the world, so not a good idea. So my question is going to be, what is y'all's opinion on that? Is it opening demonic portals? Is it opening black holes? That's what the reports are saying it, and they're opening into other dimensions, bringing in demonic. Okay, so what do y'all think on that? Y'all just kind of give me an idea. And I want to read you this. 1 Peter 5:8. Be well balanced, temperate, sober of mind, be vigilant and cautious at all times. For that enemy of yours, the devil, roams around like a lion roaring in fierce hunger, seeking someone to seize upon and to devour. So I found that verse whenever I was reading about CERN and what they were actually trying to do. And right now, the devil and demons are not in hell. I know a lot of us picture them all sitting down in hell, doing whatever it is they do, but they're not. They're actually roaming the earth. Okay, so they're walking on the earth, roaming on the earth. They're creating a lot of havoc, and it's getting worse and worse. And one of the things that you're going to be told is that they are aliens and UFOs. And I know some of this I've mentioned before, so just bear with me. But that's what's going to be happening. And we're seeing a lot of aliens and UFO sightings right now. It's getting more and more and more all the time. And I think I have a little bit more information that I'm going to give you in a little bit about that. And that's why I'm bringing this up again, even though I've actually spoken about it before. So when the rapture happens, they're going to have a reason why millions of people have disappeared, excluding children. Why have they all disappeared? So, and then another thing that's going on is a lot of people are reporting unexplainable demonic creatures that's being seen globally. In other words, they're being seen everywhere. Demons can take on many, many, many forms. It does not have to be a person. They can take on an animal, and a lot of people are reporting and even getting videos of a lot of weird looking animals, a lot of weird sightings, animals that we might have not perhaps seen before. And so it's being actually reported more and more and more. And I think it's going to become even more so. We're going to see more and more about it because as demons are being cast to the earth, I think we're going to be seeing more and more of it. Even though there's demons floating around the earth, they come and go. But when Michael and Satan get in the big fight in Revelation 12 in heaven, they're going to be kicked to the earth for good. So they're going to be living here for good. So when they're living here for good, you can imagine how evil it's going to get if it's getting this evil when they're just coming and going. But that's what they're doing. And so if by chance you have something weird happen or, just anything, a verbal attack from someone that just comes out of anywhere, just remember, you can tell that the demons are evil or whatever to get away from you in the name of Jesus. Demons do not like the name of Jesus. They absolutely hate to hear his name. So if you tell them to get away from you in the name of Jesus, they're going to do it. Okay, no worries. So if you have something like that happen, I personally have. I have not seen well, that's not necessarily true. I did see this weird looking animal run in my backyard one day, and I swore it was a wolf. But everybody's telling me there's no way I saw a wolf out in my woods because they're not in this area really, but it looked like one to me. But anyway, he was aggressive and running really, really fast, and I haven't seen him since, so I can't say yay or nay. Then other people have said maybe he's a hybrid, part wolf, part dog. Who knows? But so other than that, I've not personally seen anything that other people are saying that they see. And the pictures that I see that come up of what people are getting pictures of and things that they're seeing, they're pretty different looking. Yeah, they're definitely different. So anyway, so if something like that were to happen, and I'm not saying it will, I'm not saying it does, and I'm not saying it won't. I personally have not experienced it, but I'm not going to discount other people saying that they have. You just need to know, just remind them that in the name of Jesus, they are not allowed to be there and they will run. And that was why I picked up the First Peter 5:8, because I really like that, because it's be well balanced, temperament, sober of mind, be vigilant and cautious at all times. For that enemy of yours, the devil, roams around like a lion warring in fierce hunger, seeking someone to seize upon and devour. So they're looking for someone to mess with. Okay. And, you just need to be diligent and be really, really, really careful. And if that is indeed going on, just be careful. And just remember also, we can only serve one master, God or Satan. You can't serve both. So when you see something like that, if you see something like that, you definitely want to tell it to go away. Okay, and I know that was a little weird, but when I keep seeing it come up on, on news feeds and in magazines and different things like that, to me, that's a sign that I need to say something, and I don't say that and tell you, oh, go get in fear, be scared. There's all kinds of weird creatures running around. That's not what I'm saying. But we have seen animals doing all kinds of weird things, a lot more alligator attacks and stuff. So I'm just saying, like First Peter 5:8 says, be cautious and just, make sure you keep that full armor on every day. Okay, so on August 26th, Israel carried out another strike in northwestern Syria. It was at their weapons factory, a reserve center. So, yet again, it was not the civilians, the towns, it was a weapons factory. Israel's chief said, looks like the Iran deal will go through. And we've been talking about that we've been talking about this thing since number 46 got back in office, but we've been talking about it on here since last week. And they had said within 24 to 48 hours, they thought that it was going to go through. But I guess number 46 was on vacation. And I know that the prime minister of Israel has tried to call number 46 and he's telling them he's on vacation. He won't talk to him. And there is one of the people from Israel flying in. It was supposed to be last week, but I guess they realized maybe that really wasn't worth it if he wasn't there. So I guess they're going in this week and they're trying to talk to him about what's going on with this nuclear deal. This is devastating and it's horrible for Israel. I mean, Israel right now, they've got Lebanon and Syria, and they've got all these other countries are not really, countries, but proxies, Iran proxies. They do services for Iran. You've got Yemen, you've got Israel, you've got the Islamic jihads, you've got the Hezbollah, the Hamas, all that. And they've got hundreds between them all, they've got hundreds of thousands of equipment, military equipment, bombs, things like that, ready to shoot at Israel. And if this Iran deal goes through, it is going to give massive amounts of money to help fund that. And honestly, it's throwing Israel under the bus and turning your back on Israel. And anyone that knows biblical history and whatnot, that is a no. God is not going to like that at all. So, and God is not going to smile down and continue blessing the U.S. if we're doing things like that. And quite frankly, Iran hates us. They call us Big Satan. They call Israel Little Satan. So if they were indeed able to take out Israel, which I do believe God is going to protect them, but if they were to do it for whatever reason, they're coming after us. And even if they don't do it, they're still coming after us. We're Big Satan. We're evil, but we're going to turn around and get in this deal while they're attacking our people in Syria, and then turn around and give them all this money so that they can turn around and do it again, do more. No. So anyway, the Israel Mossad, his name is David, it's called this Iran nuke deal a strategic disaster for Israel that is based on lies. It is very, very rare for the Israel Mossad to go on a camera and speak, much less say something like this when they do. They, going on camera is not something the Israel Mossad does. It's very rare. They also rebuked number 46's administration, and that's something they definitely don't do, but they did. And he has stated that the Mossad will act. Israel is not a party to this deal. He clarified that Israel is not a party to this deal and is not subject to honor whatever is in that deal. In other words, they don't have to abide by anything that is in that deal. Okay. And that they will do what they need to do to protect Israel. And I do believe that they mean that. And I also believe that Iran has said for about 25 years now, they're going to destroy Israel and they're going to kill people in Israel. And I believe it. If your enemy tells you they're going to kill you, they're going to kill you. You know, you don't sit around and say, oh, he's my enemy and he said he's going to kill me, but nah, he probably didn't mean it. No, if he said it, he means it. And so that's exactly what they intend to do. And Israel is not going to let that happen. So I think, honestly, my personal opinion, I think they're going to bomb and start taking out Iran, Israel is, prior to this deal being signed. We'll see what happens when number 46 actually sits down and talks to this guy going to DC from Israel and see what happens. But I don't think it's going to change anything. It didn't change anything whenever he went to Israel and spoke with Lapid, which is the prime minister. He's the interim prime minister. You know, they're having new elections in November, which is another big concern because they're weak right now. You know, they're in between governments. I mean, Israel's still going to protect themselves, but they are in between governments, so they're weak right now. You know, they have a weak administration, a weak everything. So things are going to happen during this type of situation. It's going to be worse. Okay, so but they said they're going to do what they need to do. And he states if they don't act, it is going to be extremely detrimental to Israel. And he would be right. He would be very right. If they don't act, it will be detrimental. And so you know, Iran wants to take Israel off the map, and that's exactly what they're intending to do and what they're setting up, and they're not even hiding it. And if that Iran deal goes through, that's about $100 billion to Iran per year in sanctions relief. And so far, I have looked and looked and looked to see what the United States gets out of this deal. What does Europe get out of this deal? Because I'm not seeing anything. The only people I see that's actually benefiting from this is Iran and their proxies, you know, all their terrorist groups they have. So if anyone knows something that could let me know how this is going to benefit us, please let me know, because I see nothing. Okay, I watched a video and it was a guy who actually had chips, okay, implanted in his hand. And he actually got them. They're from Amazon and they're called Amazon One. And he actually had these implanted in his hand. And he can actually go to like his door at home and do like this, and it opens his door. He has a Telsa. He can go to the Telsa and do like that, and it opens his door. He doesn't have to have a keys anymore. It's all implanted in his hand. And no, this is not the mark of the beast, but they're also getting it set up where you can do your groceries that way now too. Okay, and so no, it's not the mark of the beast yet. The mark of the beast is not going to happen most likely until the Antichrist comes to full power when he sits on the throne in the temple and declares himself God. When he declares himself God, yeah, you're going to know it's the Antichrist. In the beginning, everyone's going to love him. He's going to be promoting peace. He's going to be promoting all these wonderful things. And pretty much everyone's going to love him. Not everyone, but majority of people are going to love this guy. And about when but then he's going to go to a completely change. You know, he's going to be indwelled by Satan. And that's when he sits on the throne in the temple and declares himself God. And that is when the mark of the beast will start, okay, around that time. But this is definitely setting us up for the mark of the beast. And John, you know, in the book of Revelation, he saw this mark of the beast. And you got to figure this was, you know, 2,000 years ago or so, you know, maybe not quite 2,000 ago, 1,900 years ago. And he's seeing all this. And this is just your friendly reminder. Do not fall for it. And, you know, honestly, I'm not even going to get something like that for my car or house because I don't want to get comfortable with it. You know, I don't want to get comfortable with it. And I don't want people being, I mean, they already track me on my cell phone, you know, and I know they do because every time I say something, I swear all my ads start popping up. Okay, so when the rapture does happen, and we're going to get back into some more news in just a minute, but when the rapture does happen, I've already told you that they're going to say the aliens took us, right? That's my belief and a lot of people's belief, especially with all the aliens rising. And the first alien sighting wasn't until like 1947, or wasn't reported until like 1947, 48, which is when Israel became a nation, our last generation. And, in the beginning, they denied everything. And then now they're saying, oh, yes, we've seen thousands. Okay, so when we disappear, okay, the children are going to be gone too. The young children, the ones that are not at the age of accountability yet, they're going to be gone too. So this is what's interesting, and what a lot of people think that they're going to do is they're going to tell them, listen, the government, the Antichrist, don't worry about these bad Christians, the ones that were trying to promote, no abortion or anything that Christians promote. Don't worry about them bad guys anymore. We got rid of them. We took them to another planet. We let the aliens take them to another planet, and they're there now. So don't worry about them. And then the children, they're going to say, don't worry about the children. They're on another planet. They're safe. They're being taken care of. And so you're going to have millions of people disappear. But even if they use that excuse, to me, it's like, you took the bad Christians away. So why did you need to take the children away? So, if anyone's using their brain and mind, they'll realize that something's not right with what they're telling them. Okay. And I'm not saying this is verbatim what they're going to tell them, because we truthfully don't know. But with the aliens rising like they are, and everything going on, and now the government admitting that, yeah, oh yeah, there's lots of aliens. I really believe they're going to have an explanation as to why millions of people just disappeared. And if all of a sudden you're seeing all these aliens and spaceships now and UFOs, what better way to do it than to say the aliens took them? But then again, why would you need to take the children? So, and of course, God's going to take the children, because he's not going to allow those children to be hurt. I mean, yeah, he's going to protect them from what's going to happen. So he is going to take the children, but they're going to say, we believe that they're probably going to say something to the effect of, don't worry, we took the kids and put them on another planet and they're safe. And I don't even know how they could love an Antichrist or someone who is promoting peace and stuff if they took their kid. Not me. I'd be like, oh, dude. But we'll see. Well, we might. Right, if we're raptured first, we won't see. Okay, so the Congress has stated that the UFO, and this is our U.S. Congress, has stating, and these are news headlines that I'm giving you, and Congress has stated that UFO presence is expanding and is not all man-made. So Congress is admitting that UFO presence is here. Okay, and like I said, this is all news headlines that came off of different news sources, okay, that I'm doing now. Home prices are going down. Electricity has gone up a lot. I heard my daughter said the other day that her fiance was like, what in the world, have you been running the AC like crazy or what? What's going on? From last year to this year, our electricity is like $75 more. And what's going on? I don't understand. And I was like, oh, check the prices. I bet they went up. And sure enough, that's what happened. Wasn't so much that they used more, was it kilowatts or whatever? It's prices have gone up so much. And then now I'm seeing people like on Facebook and stuff talking about it. So apparently it's really just starting to become really, really noticeable. We're with Georgia Power, and I read somewhere that they're expecting ours to go up 25% the 1st of January, but we're on budget. So mine's the same thing every month. So I haven't really been paying attention. So I'm going to have to look at that and see, actually how much it went up. Okay, so NASA. has set dates for a mission to practice to save the Earth from asteroids. NASA will slam a speeding craft into an asteroid. And the speeding craft is going to be the size of like a really small car. And they're going to actually shoot it up into the air, and they're going to slam it into an asteroid that is headed towards the Earth at that point. This is supposed to be happening on September 26th, so not too far from now. And this is going to be like a test run. So, they don't really know if it's going to work or not, but it's a test run. They want to send this up there to see if they could change the trajectory of how the asteroid is traveling, because they are anticipating sometime in the future for us to be slammed with an asteroid, which if you read the seals, the trumpets and all that, you know that that is probably a very huge probability that that's going to happen during that time. But they're obviously seeing that. And so now they're going to be doing a test run on September 26th. And you will actually be able to watch that live from what I'm understanding. I did not see an actual, I didn't see an actual link or anything yet. Maybe they'll put that up closer to time. If I see it, I will definitely let you know. And September 23rd, or September 26th, that is interesting that they're choosing that day to do that, because that is right in the middle of Rosh Hashanah. And I know I probably butchered that. It's the Jewish New Year. Okay, so it's right just like in the middle of that. But September 26th is also the Feast of Trumpets, also known as the Day of Atonement. Day of Atonement is when they had their temple. The high priest would go behind the veil and sacrifice the animal and pray for everyone's sins to be forgiven for that year. They were only allowed to go there once a year. Okay. And so it's interesting that that's kind of happening on that same day. You got UFO things going on. They're talking about the rapture coming around that time and stuff. And then you got NASA, trying to figure out how to destroy asteroids. I don't know. It was just kind of interesting. But if you want to see, read about that, you can go to Leviticus 23:24. And it says, say to the Israelites, and this is God speaking to Moses, giving instructions. Leviticus is mostly the rules and things that God gave Moses. Say to the Israelites, on the first day of the 7th month, now Jewish calendars are different than ours. Our 7th month is actually July. Theirs is either September or October, depending on how the days go for that year. But theirs is usually September, October. So on the first day of the 7th month, you shall observe a day of solemn sabbatical rest, a memorial day announced by blowing of trumpets, a holy assembly. Yeah, so Feast of Trumpets, right in the middle of Rosh Hashanah, which is their Jewish New Year. And Feast of Trumpets is when they'll be blowing the trumpet, and they blow it. It's a show horn. So if you've never heard it, it's really cool. Now, it's just interesting that those things tied together, and I'm just giving you something else, just to kind of look at, Let's see. So we'll move on from that. National gas has also hit a 14-year high. The Brits are going to get paid not to use their electronics at peak hours. So I guess peak hours probably would be something like 2 to 5. So they're actually going to pay them not to use their electronics. I mean, honestly, if I could do it, I'd do it. I guess if you're working, it'd be a little harder, but I would do it. Yeah, Pakistan, they're having massive, massive flooding. There has been over 1,000 people killed, 1 million homes have been destroyed. And this has just been like since last week. And 90% of the crops have been destroyed. Now, Pakistan has typhoons every year. And honestly, they're somewhat needed because, to refill their lakes and whatnot. But this has been like massive, massive. I think last year, maybe 30 people passed away from it. And so far, they've already had 1,000 die. And that's just what they know of. And then 1 million homes have been destroyed. So it's pretty bad right now, we already going through droughts everywhere. And if we're not going through droughts, we're going through floodings. It's just, yeah, it's definitely interesting. Los Angeles Homeless Authority wants to remove homeless from its name because it's dehumanizing. So they just want to call it LA Authority. So, I found that was interesting because I'm thinking to myself, okay, don't worry about the homeless, just worry about the name. Because, they've got a horrible, horrible homeless problem out there in those areas. And they're more worried about what their name is than fixing the problem. So I just found that kind of interesting. A Canadian vet offered assisted suicide instead of PTSD help. Yeah, a vet had PTSD, and instead of helping him with that, they offered suicide. Yeah, and that's what our world's coming to. What is that? Depopulation. I'm going to read another verse, and I have a reason for this. And a lot of my videos, I'm not going to have a lot of scripture reading, but it just depends on what we're looking at. And in this particular one, there was a lot of scripture references to go towards things. Okay, I'm going to read Zephaniah 1:13. And their wealth shall become plunder, and their houses a desolation. Though they build houses, they shall not inhabit them. Though they plant vineyards, they shall not drink the wine from them. And the reason that I'm reading that is because I just told you that the housing market is crashing. But when you're driving down the road, I mean, I'm in Georgia. I don't know how it is everywhere, but I'm seeing a lot of other people mention this. There are builders out there just building tons of houses. And so it's like, why are you building these houses? It doesn't make no sense when the housing market's crashing. What we were going through 6, 8, 10 months ago where people were bidding on our homes, it's not going to be going on anymore. The housing market is crashing. So why are all these houses being built? And I mean, seriously, I'm seeing a lot of people talk about that. So when it brought me to the Zephaniah 1:13. And it says, though they build houses, they shall not inhabit them. Though they plant vineyards, they shall not drink the wine from them. So is that what's going to happen with these houses they're building? I would think so, yeah, because if the the housing market's going down, people aren't going to be buying them. So I thought it was interesting too. And let's see, we're going to go to Malachi. Malachi is the last book of the Old Testament. And then after Malachi was written, there was about a 400 and some change years of silence, from the Lord. He did not give the prophets any direction or any information during that time, from the Old to the New Testament, from Malachi to Matthew, but it's about a 430-year time frame that he did not do any speaking through the prophets. He was quiet. Things were going on, of course, but yeah, he was quiet. So interesting. Malachi 3:7. even from the days of your fathers, you have turned aside from my ordinances and have not kept them. Return to me, and I will return to you, says the Lord of hosts. But you say, how shall we return? I brought that verse up because it has nothing to do with the news, but it's just really on my heart. If you have turned from the Lord, come back to him. He'll be there with open arms. The Lord's a gentleman. He's not going to grab you out of your sin. He's not going to go to you and grab you. But when you return to him, he will run to you. Okay. And that's where Malachi 3:7 came up. So, I'm seeing all this end time prophecy fulfilling. And there's so much more that we haven't even taught about that's being fulfilled. Things are happening so quickly, we almost can't. But yeah, just, return to him. If you've left, return. If you haven't accepted him, accept him. He'll come running to you. He wants you to come. Okay, I watched a video, and I'm going to tell you about this video, and I'm going to tell you it's Nelson Walters, and I think I've mentioned him in our videos before. It's NELSONWALTERS. He put a video up on YouTube on August 27th. And it's concerning the WEF, World Economic Forum. I'm going to read you just a little bit of it from what the video talked about, but I highly recommend getting on there and watching that video. Real interesting, okay? Yuval Harari, who was an advisor for the World Economic Forum, stated in a recent TED Talk interview, many of the WEF's views, such as there is no truth, only power, and that humans are expendable, and that humans are hackable animals. Yes, he said that. He openly rejects human beliefs and says they are fictitious. Humans are unnecessary, and the mass population is unnecessary. He says that you will own nothing and you will be happy. So is this going to be how the New World Order starts? I think so. Okay, I've got this video I'm just going to show you really quick. It's only like a minute and a half. It's a new show coming out, and I wanted to see what you guys thought about it.
Girl, their shoes should come with a content warning. What a waste.
New girl, say hi to the world.
The sky over a local junior high has torn open.
Mom, get in! There's no more putting this off. Your dad is the devil, and you're the Antichrist.
I'm supposed to accept that you had sex with Satan or anyone?
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Come to your father, Damien.
Oh, you're a girl.
The future is female.
Pleased to meet you.
Where have you been my whole life?
The metaphysical realm. It's not hell, but it's got the essentials.
Hey, everybody. This is my daughter. Kiss her ass or I'll slaughter your children.
Proud of you!
When we dated, were you inside someone's corpse?
You had an unfinished dolphin tattoo. Don't be a snob.
Oh.
She says, I lied to protect you.
She sounds like a bitch.
That's what I said.
I've had the tail coming loose.
Hey, look at me. I'm bad grandma.
What do you make of this thing? Biblical or the media?
I like things the way they were.
Get your hands off my daughter.
Our daughter.
Oh, great. My parents are here.
I'm a chicken now.
This party just got lame.
If my parents ever show up to a party, murder me.
I'm pleased to meet you. Hope you'll guess my name.
So what did you think about that? Kind of different, huh? Yeah, I saw that pop up the other day and I was like, oh my goodness. Wow. So yeah, they're not even hiding it anymore, even in little cartoon looking things. Okay, so we'll move on from that, but just kind of leave me a comment on or send me an email, what you think about that. Okay, and children ages. Oh, I'm so sorry. Apparently I didn't shut off that. Let's turn that off. Okay, there we go. That actually scared me. Okay, so children ages 0 to 14, there has been a 542% increase in excess deaths this year compared to just last year in Europe. Why? Why is there an increase in 542%? That's big. That's big. Iran and Russia have moved to create a natural gas cartel, working together to reduce the influence of the U.S. And they're benefiting both their countries. So they're going to work together to create natural gas. Russia has said that they are willing to possibly negotiate with Ukraine if Kiev will unconditionally surrender, reduce the size of its military, and to denazification. Those are their stipulations, and I don't think that Ukraine's going to do that. They want them to unconditionally surrender and reduce the size of the military, and yeah, I just don't see it happening. There's a place called Crimea, Crimea, in the Ukraine, but it's actually under the control of Russia. Russia has moved a particular unit used for the service of nuclear objects to the Crimea Peninsula, indicating movement of nukes here. If Russia has nukes in the Crimean Peninsula, they can reach any capital with nukes, any European capital with nukes. We had mentioned once before, way back about, we were talking about the Antichrist, and honestly, we're supposed to be looking for Jesus. We're not supposed to be looking for the Antichrist. And most likely we're not even going to know who it is ever. But one of the people, but I'm just going to tell you things I hear. One of the people I heard has said that Emmanuel Macron, who was the French president, and it's a possibility. He really is out there teaching peace. He's, 35, 40 years old. He was really a no-name, and then all of a sudden became French president. He won 2 terms, and I don't think a French president has won 2 terms in over 20 years. So he's the first in a long time. I do think he has Jewish roots from the European area. Name's Emmanuel. So something just to think about. I heard someone else today say, nah, it's not possible. Not enough people like them. I don't know. I don't think, while Christians are still on the earth, I think, ones that are really in the word and really praying and really staying in relationships with God and Christ, I think we're going to be able to discern and realize more than someone who is not a Christian or someone who is backslidden and not in the word might not know what the signs are. Okay, so that could go either way. I see what the guy was saying, that he didn't think he was. Too many people don't like him, but what people don't like him, because if we're raptured before, it isn't going to matter, Okay, so China has been, in the past buying a lot of our land. Venezuela gave Iran land. They gave them 2,500 acres. Why? Why does Iran need land in Venezuela? Why does China need land in America? Would love someone to give me an idea on that. I don't really, I have an idea, especially in Venezuela. They're not that far from us. Iran wants to take us out. There you go. And, I think what's my concern right now is that U.S., we're focused on Democrats versus Republicans, Blacks versus whites, transgender, gay, lesbian, whatever, pushing their beliefs on us and us, wanting to tell them about our beliefs. All that we're focused on so hard. And as a Christian, yeah, we're supposed to plant the seed, but we're not supposed to push them. We plant the seed and God waters it. And there's so much of that going on here. And is that distracting us? Is these things distracting us so that we're not noticing what's going on in the Middle East? I cannot tell you how many people don't have a clue what's going on in the Middle East. And that just blows my mind because there's so much going on. But then again, I was guilty of it a few years ago myself. But there is so much going on. And so are people who are actually paying attention, are they so distracted by all the inner workings of the country and things going on, like I mentioned, and other things? There's so many things going on, the recession, food shortages, gas prices. I mean, just so many things we're focused on here that we're not focused on what's going on there. And I don't care what anyone says, what happens in the Middle East affects the United States and vice versa. So yes, we are supposed to be focused on them to see what's going on. And what's going on is affecting us really big. Okay. All right. So this is some information that I got for today. And I'm sorry this is so long. The next ones are going to be shorter because I'm going to do more. U.S. officials today were airlifted from the embassy in Baghdad, Iraq. Also, United Nations and 4 officials are leaving the embassy in Baghdad as well. Iraqi military is declaring a curfew in Baghdad. Rioters were inside the presidential palace earlier today, and they probably still are. And I'm going to read to you what Amir has said about that. It was easier for me to read it than to actually write all this down. I will tell you there is heavy fighting going on in Baghdad right now. Iran has shut its borders to Iraq. So it's getting pretty bad over there. And it's between pro-Iran and anti-Iranian militias. Okay, yes, I said Iran. It's between them and Iraq. Okay. Kuwait is now urging its citizens to leave Iraq immediately. Baghdad is pretty much a war zone right now. And I'm going to tell. Okay, this is what actually happened. It's called Chaos in Iraq. After the important Shiite leader, Muqtada al-Sadr, whose party won the majority in parliamentary elections, decided to withdraw from politics and shut down the office of his political party. His followers stormed into the presidential palace in Baghdad. They suspect that Iran is behind this move to destabilize and gain more control. al-Sadr is a loud opponent of Iran's interventions in Iraqi affairs, and the rumors are that killing squads were sent to assassinate him. So he won. They were happy about this. And then he ended up withdrawing from politics and closing the office down. And his followers believe it's because he was threatened assassination from Iran. And so because he is a huge opponent of Iran intervening in Iraq's policies. Okay, so that's why this is going on now. And this is something else that Amir said that I like this. This is about Iran. So what do we have so far? Iran creates chaos in Lebanon. And yes, we haven't even spoken about Lebanon. We'll do that another day, but there's definitely stuff going there. Iran creates chaos in Iraq. Iran creates chaos in Yemen. Iran creates chaos in Syria. Iran creates chaos in Gaza. Iran creates chaos in the West Bank. Iran is doing business with Russia. Russia brought chaos to Ukraine. Russia brought chaos to Europe with crazy, insane gas prices. Russia and Iran are friends with China. China is threatening Taiwan. And I haven't even started talking about the plans of the deep state to do everything within their power to stop key candidates from running leader's office in America and Israel. So yeah, they're going to be trying to interfere in those elections as well. So I thought that was interesting, and that's why I read that. And yes, there is a curfew there now. That is the last thing I saw, is that it's the Americans, UN, and foreign countries were airlifted. They had, from the roof via helicopters from the embassy. Apparently it's gone pretty nasty there, and Iran has shut its borders down. Let's see. And I told you about the floods in Pakistan. There was, and I'm going to spell this name, Zaporizhzhia. This is a nuclear power plant in Ukraine. The Russians have claimed that the roof of a building where nuclear fuel is stored was hit by Ukraine. So yeah, that's something they're saying, that Ukraine actually hit a nuclear facility. Last I heard, there was not anything to worry about with that at this point. It's subject to change, but I think it's okay. And, Russia needs, and I just read you all these things that Iran is causing problems with, yet we're going to still work out a UN deal with them. And, honestly, Russia needs the Iran deal as much as Iran, because the more money Iran gets, the more it can spend, and they're going to end up buying oil, gas, and weapons from Russia, thus increasing their money. So, and right now, the Middle East right now, guys, is a ticking bomb. It is a ticking bomb, and it is ready to go off. There is a huge storm brewing all over Israel. You've got all the proxies surrounding Israel. You got just everyone in that area. It's just insane. And I'm sorry, when we have a weak administration, these are the things that will happen. So yes, voting is very important. And the thing is, at the end of the day, because of, if that deal goes through, or even looks like it's going to go through, Israel's going to attack. They're not going to have a choice. We talked about that. And they're going to, right now, they're going to keep increasing their attacks in Syria, their facilities, to get rid of as many weapons as they can, until as long as they can. They're going to keep it up. And, and so the U.S. is giving tons of our military equipment and weapons and money to Ukraine, and then 80 million left in Afghanistan. And while they're doing that, they're depleting our military because people won't get the jab. And, you've got Iran getting property in Venezuela, and Iran getting nukes, and Iran can reach the United States through ballistic missiles with those nukes attached. Now you got Russia that's going to be, in the Crimea Peninsula and can reach any European capital. Are you guys smelling World War III coming on? Because I definitely am. I'm smelling World War III. I'm smelling the Magog War. I'm smelling the Psalm 83 War. It's everywhere. It's horrible. And you know what? at the end of the day, God is in control and he knows what the end is going to be. He knows what's going to happen and he's going to protect his children. You know, we're going to be okay. So, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't watch it and be aware and prepare, you know, prepare for possible electric outages. You know, if you can afford to get you a good generator, get you one. Stocking up on food and things that you can cook over an open fire, you know, if you do lose your electricity. And I wouldn't depend on things like propane and gas. You know, I would depend on freezing the woods to start a fire. I mean, you know, just go for the worst. And then if it doesn't happen, it's okay. You know, we prepared. And so that's all I got today, guys. And I'm really, really sorry that it was a little, I wasn't planning on doing this till tomorrow. I would have been a little more prepared. But like I said, there was just so much going on. I'm like, this video is going to be 3 hours long. And so I've decided I'm going to start doing more videos. Okay. So that it's not as long. I'd like to limit them to about 20, 30 minutes. And so that way you can get on, you can get your information and it's not overwhelming. But I went ahead and gave you what I had today so that I could be caught up. And I'm going to do my best to get on tomorrow and catch you up on some more, maybe Wednesday, maybe do Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you know, but try to get us all caught up. And I appreciate you guys stopping by. I appreciate you paying attention. And this is the time of day that I have internet issues sometimes. So I'm praying this is not chop, chop, chop. So you guys have a great day. We love you guys, the two friends in the Bible, me and Flora. We love you guys. We appreciate it. We're getting a lot of feedback and we really, really appreciate it. And if you guys want a Left Behind letter that we put together, it's a letter explaining, we're actually going to leave it like on our refrigerator and on our table and stuff. So if, you know, we are indeed raptured and it is like a pre-rapture, you know, people who are left behind are going to end up needing places to go and stay because as things get worse and worse, they're going to be hiding. So they'll probably end up at one of our houses. And so we have those letters there and it's warning them not to take the mark. It's warning them who the Antichrist is. It's letting them know what has happened. So if you're interested, shoot me out an email, twofriendsinthebible@gmail.com, and I will send you a copy of that letter back. If you've got parents maybe that aren't Christians, or you've got children maybe that aren't Christians, and you know they're going to come to your house if you disappear, you know, and they're going to find that, it's another good reason to have it. Close friends, whatever. Okay. And so if you're interested, of course, it's free of charge. You know, we just put it together and we'll send it to you via email. Thanks, guys. And thanks for putting up with us. Y'all have a great day.